Hello, my name is Marcus, and welcome to my channel. The other day, we went to go see the new Ryan Coogler movie, Sinners, featuring Michael B. Jordan. He's the director of the Black Panthers and the Creed franchises. I essentially went to go see this movie literally just because I respect Ryan Coogler as a director and Michael B. Jordan as an actor. And I can definitely say that I was extremely far from disappointed from my experience with Sinners. This is a very popular movie so far. It has made decent money at the box office, and it seems to be already garnering a cult classic. So I just want to do a diagnostic of this movie to understand what made it so popular. The story essentially focuses on two twins, both portrayed by Michael B. Jordan, who are interested in starting a party scene, or what they call it, a juke joint, in the Jim Crow era in the southern town in the 1930s. So as you can imagine, the atmosphere is very heavily centered on Black culture back in that era. And I definitely appreciated the representation of, from an ancestral standpoint, to kind of materialize on a realistic standpoint of what my grandfather, grandmother, so on and so forth, what may have experienced back during those times. I would say the biggest draw of this movie by far is the heavily centered atmosphere and the musical elements, focusing on blues culture. It's focused on Buddy Guy's life, the real life musician, almost one of the originators of the blues genre of music. Just a beautiful display of musical centered pieces and scenes and performances all across the board. I would say the first half of the movie was really just planning a party and then exasperating the party and then having the party. It was just a good time. It was a great time. I found myself moving and weaving from the musical pieces throughout the first part of the duration of the movie. I thought Ryan Coogler did a stellar job with his script writing on basing the storyline kind of based on Buddy Guy's life, with some mythical elements thrown in, with some folklore of demons trying to take over the blues culture, trying to steal the Black culture. It also has a very strong reminiscent of Ryan Johnson's life as well. He was a huge, almost the king, the originator of the blues culture as well. Without him, I feel like blues culture wouldn't even exist today as it is, and it almost kind of adds to the legend as well, because he unexpectedly and mysteriously passed away at the age of 27. I did a little bit of research, and there was no official cause of death on his death certificate, so it almost kind of adds to the legend of the folklore that he technically sold his soul to the devil to acquire his musical ability. So it's very, very cool that Ryan Coogler was able to add elements from these two legends to write the script to be incorporated into this story. Miles Canton portrays Sammy, essentially the young Buddy Guy, who is the cousin to the two twins of Michael B. Jordan. This is his fresh starting role in this film, and he does an absolute stellar job with his skills as a musician. His vocal talent and his talent with the guitar is showcased 1000% here. He takes place in most definitely one of the most beautiful musical pieces I think I have ever seen in any cinema theatrical experience to date. 37 years of life, easily one of my favorite musical pieces ever. The scene starts off with Sammy simply playing his guitar and getting the crowd into the faction of the music, and then quickly and surely almost a fire starts to ablaze, and it goes from Sammy's blues singing voice to a 70s rendition of Black rock and roll to an 80s rendition of rap and R&B to a 2000s rendition of the twerk culture, the get down music. Just an outstanding, well choreographed, amazing display of musical pieces put together to showcase the full essence of Black culture, Black music. It was a very symbolic moment that I'm so proud that I got to experience. For that one reason, that this one scene alone, in my opinion, is worth the price of admission of the ticket. Trust me, it was just so beautiful. It's almost like you didn't even really need the theatrical or the folklore of the mythical elements of the movie. If you would have given me a whole movie just off of beautiful musical renditions of scenes like this, I would have been a happy boy, honestly. That was just, that scene alone, in my opinion, is worth an Oscar nod, at least a nomination just for the theatrical elements of it, of the set pieces. So beautiful. It really was. Michael B. Jordan is at the absolute top of his game here, portraying the character Stack in Smoke. He has officially solidified himself as one of the greatest actors of not only this generation, but in my opinion, he's top 15, top 20 of one of the greatest actors I think I've ever personally seen. He was that good. Just being able to differentiate the two types of personalities and act against himself and from scene to scene. I think you gotta definitely appreciate that. I'm curious if just somebody was just portraying his character for the lines as he was literally just acting against himself. Just such a brilliant performance. I think still for him, my favorite role from him is Killmonger from Black Panther, but this is definitely a very close second and the personal favorite performances from him. It was so freaking good, man. It really was. Haley Steinberg shocked the shit out of me with her performance as Mary. I didn't know that she had that southern twang in her. She portrays one of the love interests to one of the twins. I believe it was Smoke, and she ends up being a bigger part of the mythological that we had originally thought. Such an awesome role. Just her dance choreography in the role was super good as well. Doesn't really have too much musical talent that she contributed to the role, but just she definitely added a specific flair and fire to the performance. And once she was transformed into a vampire, just such a cool performance. I mean, it's one of her best. It's so crazy because I had only originally known her as Hawkeye from the Disney Plus show Hawkeye. So seeing her in this role, completely different. Definitely got to see her acting chops 1000% with this role. Very, very stellar performance for sure. Wami Masuko's performance as Anne was absolutely stellar as well. She portrays almost like a voodoo princess role in this and the love interest to one of the twins as well. Such a beautiful woman. It's so crazy because it took me a while to actually realize that she was one of the agents from the Loki series and the Deadpool and Wolverine series. It's so cool that, you know, in this role here, she is completely different just from the southern accent that is portrayed here to her southern outfits, her cosmetic appearances here. Just they did such a fine job of just portraying her as a completely different person. And like I said, such a beautiful woman to look at on screen. I am a proprietor of Black Women, if you didn't know, and what I saw from her from this movie was absolutely stellar. I hope I get to see more of her, not only here in this franchise, but in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well. Lee Ju Lee as Grace Win Chow gave us a epic southern spark, twang, and fire that was greatly incorporated into this film as well. If it was one person that was going to be needed to start the fire of the movie, to start the final climactic fight scene, she was definitely the one for sure. She did. That was like her core responsibility of the show, to kind of transform it from a musical movie to a horror slasher film. And once the baddies really started to take hold of the movie, she was the one that was like, screw it, stop all this planning, let's just fight it out. Whatever happens, happens. Brilliant performance by her for sure. You know, I was really enthralled with her performance as well. Hope I'm able to see her in future stuff. Definitely easy on the eyes as well. That's always a helpful situation. And then we have her husband as well. He played that subtle role of like, oh my God, stuff's getting real. Let me go grab the car so that we can get out of here. Everybody in my theater, no. you gotta have a guinea pig, I guess, to really kind of start the fire. And as soon as he went out to get the car and didn't come back for a while, then he comes back and he's like, just let me in. Come on, just let me in. But we gotta go get our kid. Like, nah, it's a wrap, bro. It's a wrap. Gotta love that. And then we have the legendary Delroy Lindo as Delta Slim, the Whimsical master of the harmonica, also known as the town drunker. But growing up in the Jim Crow era as a black man in America, I can only imagine the atrocities that he has witnessed throughout his lifetime. But that drunkenness and going along with the magical capabilities of his harmonica was always a spectacle to withhold when he was on screen. Definitely happy he was a part of this experience. Then we also have the classic Omar Benson as Cornbread. He looks awfully familiar. I feel like I've seen him in a ton of movies before. He's never been the star of anything, but man, he has always played a great comedic character, a side role, and it is no different here. He's one of the first ones to get turned into a vampire, and it is absolutely hilarious. Him trying to get back into the slaughterhouse and to start eating people. It's just a cool comedic selection. Then with the whole dance scene, him dancing around, just awesome, man. It really was. And then we have the beautiful Jamie Lawson portraying Pearl as a love interest to Sammy, even though she's married. I guess it's a little easier to cut a little rug during those times without the pressures of social media making you be a decent human being. Her singing capabilities are put on the forefront here. Whimsical, as always, definitely out of the musical talents that was showcased within this class, was flawless. It really was. I know her from the Batman and the Woman King. She was really good in those portrayals, and it is no different here. A very much welcomed performance, especially with her singing capabilities, 1000%. Most certainly an interesting take on the villains in this picture. The white characters who were a part of the white supremacy group, the Ku Klux Klan, also happened to be portrayed as the vampires as well, from an Irish mob per se. And definitely what made it to the most interesting factor, which I feel like a lot of people, that's why this movie is getting a lot of controversy as well. So the vampires are portrayed as trying to suck the black culture. So they're targeting the party and whatnot, but their main target is Sammy because they see within him a magical capability so that they can enforce their power of song. It seems like the magic of their vampire powers is music, song, instruments, so on and so forth. And they see magical capability within Sammy's guitar and his singing. So he ends up being the primary target for the vampire clan to take his power so that they can reinforce their own agenda. And it was a really cool and interesting portrayal to kind of like showcase groups or organizations attempting to utilize black culture to make their own organizations more powerful. Kind of like a rendition of how history has worked, especially back in those olden times. So interesting of how that is portrayed. Flawless performances across the board. There's not one character in this entire movie who showcased any sort of weakness where I was like, what's this person doing here? I mean, from the choreography, from even when everybody started turning heel and we turned from the musical film to the slasher film where everybody gets turned into a vampire and it's just a fight for survival. I feel like that part was entertaining as well. But for me, I feel like the true love of Sinners comes from the musical aspect of the movie and the overall message, not like a negative message, just showcasing that black culture and the musical history within the black culture needs to be enriched. It needs to be held to a standard of historical accuracy of this is how this was created. The blues was created through turmoil, suffering, and pain. And that still needs to be held representative of today's society, which just correlates to black culture in general. This was a brilliant movie. It really was. It was well thought out. It was well put together. Every scene, every piece of dialogue, every piece of music was very much, you could feel the thought that went into every actor and actresses, their motivations, their choreography, their lines of dialect, and their reasonings for doing what they're doing. I really appreciate the fact that I got to experience this picture, because I wasn't going to go see it at first. To tell you what got me is Peep saying that it was on par with Avengers Infinity War, Black Panther, Avengers Endgame. That really got me going. I'm like, no way, this movie is that good. And honestly, still, I wouldn't say that it's on par with Avengers Infinity War, but as you know, I am a superhero comic book guy at the soul, so I've never really been that heavily into the vampire or the horror genre. But I tell you what though, even for somebody with a casual outlook, for me, this was definitely masterpiece level territory, because I mean, it's getting casual moviegoers to go and see a slasher film. You know, you throw a little bit of black culture and music in there, it's like, hey, it turned it into something special apparently. So I definitely appreciate the efforts for that, for sure. Should you go see this movie? Yes, 1000%. If I had one mission with this video, that was definitely just to express that notion 1000%. You know, stop what you're doing. If you haven't seen this film yet, go experience it for yourself so you can formulate your own opinion. And I think I'll end it there, man. So if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit that like button. That helps the channel grow. That helps get the video out there so more eyes will see it. If you want to see more content just like this, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. You can follow me at youtube.com/SmartJack79. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, my friends, thank you guys for the support, and I will see y'all on the next one. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.